Hello world, my name is Dad Almighty Mike, and today's guest on the podcast is Wyatt Cecil. Wyatt Cecil is a local Spokane, and I will hands down say the best Spokane tattoo artist 2023. Be sure to check out everything about him and his socials in the video description. Be sure to click on those links to go to his website, check out his merchandise, check out his art. Be sure to like, subscribe, and smash that bell for more data-driven updates. But first, a word from companies that support us or we like, such as My Hands Are High, My Feet Are Low, and This Is How We PepsiCo. PepsiCo. I like Pepsi stock. In fact, if you own a home, you should sell your home and put it into McDonald's and PepsiCo and Walmart and Procter & Gamble and Hershey's, because I have claims to their future earnings. But other than that, here's our amazing guest, Wyatt.
Howdy, rip roaring good morning to you. My name is Wyatt Cecil. I own SP Studios out here in Spokane, Washington. Currently residing in the Mad Collab Studios space building area. So, yeah. How's it going? Thank you for having me on, Michael.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks for jumping in and doing this. Just tell the world about you.
Well, I've been tattooing for about 8 years now. I've been through all kinds of craziness, tattooed in 25 different cities, as far north, south, east, and west as you can go in the country. Opened this studio about a year ago. Been on my own now for a little bit, and it's been pretty good. Definitely ran into that whole, once you make your own hours, you work more than you ever thought you would.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, we're kind of shooting for the stars right now. I'm running into a thing where I'm addicted to having that excitement of the new project. And then I'm not, I'm basically planting a bunch of seeds and then running off and planting more seeds and forgetting to water the ones that I started. So, we're really trying to take a step back now and keep the things that we've started fostered as we're moving forward now. So we have the opening a new location. I'm going to be moving out of this building and into a 1,400 square foot shop, which is I'm really stoked about. We met a guy that does. He's talking about how, like, in real estate, in the state of Washington, you have the right to representation, similar to how you have the right to representation in a court of law. So we met him looking for some other properties before we signed on this one, and we weren't interested in his properties, and he asked if we needed representation. And I'm not very familiar with real estate, so I asked him what that meant, and he basically explained that to me, and I was like, oh wow, that definitely is something that we'd be interested in. He ended up talking them down from pretty high rent with a 4% increase every year plus triple net, and then he got them down like $600 for the first year, and then a decent increase up until at the end we'll be paying what we would have been paying the first year, which was really cool. And then he negotiated us into getting $42,000 of renovations in the building, which was just astounding to me. I was not expecting anything like that. So they're taking the time right now to do, new paint, putting walls up, adjusting some of the different rooms and tearing things down and adding stuff for us. So that was really, really cool. But yeah, so we're opening that new location now because I have some other artists that want to do guest spots and come out and stuff like that from out of state. But I can't really have anybody here because, the walk-in traffic just isn't really there. And for me, it wasn't an issue. I've been tattooing in this area for like 8 years, so I've built up a really solid clientele. But now that I'm going to be having more people coming on, I definitely need something that's more downtown. So we just launched an apparel line. We got t-shirts, dresses, swimsuits, joggers, leggings, all kinds of stuff, windbreakers. So that's been really cool. I've been doing a lot of the designing myself too. I know a lot of people use like, Fiverr and stuff like that. So it's nice being an artist and having a base understanding of digital media, to be able to make all my own designs and then go on and actually do all the designing myself. So, it's not just a, logo on a shirt, they're all over print. These are actually the swim trunks that I'm wearing right now. So they have this like backlay type thing of the logo, which was actually really difficult to do, trying to get the black to be noticeable but subtle enough to where it's not, fighting with the design.
Screened?
No, they're cut dye sublimation.
Okay.
So
What's
yeah,
that's
so basically the threads have the color in them.
okay.
So everything is just in the material. It's not like put on top.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
That's really impressive.
right, yeah, this lighter color is just on the like in the fabric, which is nice. And I use Printful right now. It's a pretty great service, honestly. The prices aren't too great, but it's one of those things of right now I'm using drop shipping because I don't have the know-how to work with manufacturers as far as identifying, like, when you go on Printful, man, you throw a design on a shirt and then you get a proof and then they send it to you and you're like, okay, cool, and then going through like Alibaba, it's a whole thing of like, you have 75 different fabrics, 75 different design options, and then you have to get somebody, you have to go through and vet the company and then, find a way to pay them, which is pretty difficult as far as, do you pay now, do you pay half now, half later, what type of service do you use, because they're overseas, so you can't just, Cash App them or whatever. And then so they have different agencies that you go through to pay them, and then, finding somebody that is able to communicate what design you want and how you want it put in and the pattern it's going to be in and all that kind of stuff. So it ends up being a pretty tricky situation, and that's why you pay $4 for a t-shirt from a manufacturer, as opposed to I'm paying $25 per shirt to Printful, and then but they do everything. I don't have to have inventory. I don't have to ship it out. I don't have to touch anything. I just make the design, people order it from the website, and then it's shipped off to them and they get their product. But that's kind of like one of the next steps in that apparel line thing is, now that I'm going to have this bigger space, dropping that, $10, $20, $30,000 to get, one of each size of every t-shirt that I have, one of each size of every sweatshirt, leggings, all those different things. And I have like 7 or 8 designs, just on the t-shirts. So, it's not just 10 small, medium, large, XL, XXL on one t-shirt. There's that times 8, and then, women's t-shirts, men's t-shirts, tank tops, crop tops, all that stuff. So it's definitely a big cliff to leap off of, but once the finances are free enough, to do that and make that jump, then it'll be a big difference.
So how much of your time? That's a lot. So yeah, how do you find time for anything? So how much of your time are you spending tattooing?
I tattoo probably about 30-40 hours a week, and then drawing is probably 10 hours a week, and then so probably spending 10-20 hours a week on apparel, photo shoots, and then I'm an avid chess player as well. And I work 10-12 hour days and just kind of doing a thing. I don't know, it's one of those things that I really, really love it. I've also been going through a lot of mental health issues, as far as realizing, that I have a lot of abandonment trauma from the past, and I'm waiting for, that one person from my past to say, I'm proud of you. But I think I'm looking for that from just people, and then I've pushed myself so hard for so many years, and now, everybody's proud of me. like,
absolutely.
yeah,
You've
and
accomplished a lot.
yeah.
Shit.
But the funny thing is that it doesn't scratch that itch, and so now I'm coming to realize that, it's looking for that validation from that one person that really doesn't even exist, because when I was, growing up, up until I was about 13, that person that I had in my head isn't really who that person was. We tend to glorify our parental figures, for good reason. They're the ones that raised us, like they gave us life, and as we're growing up, that really is a superhero to us, and so even in a perfect world, if that person was to come back into my life and then say that they were proud of me, now having the knowledge and perspective that I do, that person wouldn't even be the person that I would want to be proud of me. It's the idea of a human that I have in my head from when I was that age. And so now I'm kind of grappling with, how to kind of satiate that myself, and kind of work through that, which, I haven't been prioritizing the time to do a lot of self-work. And I think that a lot of it is, a lot of this business type stuff, I know how to do it. And I feel like that self-work is one of those things of, once you get past those, base layers of work, it's really difficult, and it's not something that just comes to you. It's not like you can't. I mean, I've read so many books, and I actually realized I have a slight addiction to self-help books. I'm like, I'll just, keep reading the next one, and at a point though, I realized that I'm kind of just using it as a way to feel busy. Like feel like I'm doing something about it, and I almost feel like I'm going to Home Depot and buying a shovel when I have 8 in my shed. You know what I mean? Like I have the tools now. It's just really putting in the hours and the work to get in the ground.
You feel that you have the tools now, and since you've decided to go out on your own, you are now exponentiating, and you're trying to take it to the next level with the downtown studio, with your apparel line, and just growing your brand. So where do you see this ending up?
So, my mission as a business is to foster a passion for growth, and I feel like actually this is a good time to be doing this, because it's so easy to lose that purpose. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that I'm struggling with right now, I've had quite a few financial struggles lately, and, all of a sudden it really gets, the blinders come on, of like, get stuff done, get stuff out, content, like da-da. And I feel like, now I'm like in this moment right here, I'm realizing that I've strayed away from, being why driven, and now I'm, more how driven, of like, how are we going to, grow? How are we going to make more money? How are we going to do this? When in reality, doing it from a why perspective really just brings everything into perspective, helps burnout, and it doesn't. I'm really hitting a point of like, why, because I'm not focusing on the why. I'm like waking up and I'm like, fuck, man, like we're just going, and doing things with that purpose in mind, really helps prioritize too, of like what is this really that important? Is this in the greater scheme of things helping that mission of, fostering a passion for growth and self-development, and actually I've been kind of rethinking that mission statement a little bit too. I think a passion for helping people find the tools and the means to self-educate. Yeah. I think that's one thing that's really, been a huge staple in my life that I see I see a lack, and not in the way of people, not wanting to, or, not being smart enough to. But I was very, very, very isolated as a child all the way up until pretty much when I graduated high school. So I had countless hours of time learning to self-educate, just by doing it, not even really having that intention necessarily. So that's eventually I want this brand to be a statement of, establishing that, the people supporting this brand are people that want to grow and, greater educate themselves and find ways to grow past their current problems and, live healthier, more successful lives. And I feel like, this brand is just a statement of like, hey, we're moving forward and we're making progress and we're doing it with purpose. And that's really what I'm looking at. So my company's name is SP Studios. SP stands for Studiare Paretia, and it's a Latin phrase that means to be in constant pursuit of excellence in self, life, and craft.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to hire
Absolutely.
Studiare
Paretia.
Studiare Paretia.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to. Good. That's cool.
And so now, when you translate it, Latin is so complex. I mean, one word can mean, a sentence in English, and then depending on, and they also have they're like plurals and past tense and context. Like one word can have like 17 different little blips at the beginning and the end to like have different contexts, and then just that one context out of 17 put in front or behind a word, makes an entire paragraph, and all those little nuances make something completely different. So I don't mean to say that I speak Latin. I do not by any means. And I know that roughly I spent a lot of time going back and forth on how exactly to put it. And roughly that's what that means, so that's what it means to me. And that's roughly what it translates to. But I think one thing that's really big in that, definition is to be in constant pursuit of excellence in life, self, and craft. And I put craft last because it's one of those things of it's so easy to fall into that work mode, and just working on the business, working on whatever it is that we're passionate about, whatever it is that, brings us substance in life in a monetary and, physical perspective, of like, okay, this feeds me, this feeds my family, this supports my friends and the people in my life, and so let's just put everything into that, and I find that in the journey of self-development, we learn about victim statements and all that kind of stuff, and it's really easy to see basic ones like, like my boss is just a jerk, it's like, okay, well, get a new job, and then it's so easy to identify those, in people, and then really get on that high horse, of like, oh, you're being a victim, and like that's living in victim, and really what we do is just create more in-depth, complex victim mentalities for ourselves, And it's kind of like that whole, what is it? Alan Watts has a concept. It's so good. I get a little elitist when it comes to Alan Watts, because I'll see people share a quote, or dude, there's a whole lecture that's a part of, there's so much before and after that, but at the same point though, it's, it's one of those situations of just because I have a better understanding of something, A, doesn't make me better, and B, I'm not even really applying it much. So it's so funny to see that concept of looking at somebody and being like, oh, they're so foolish, they don't know this knowledge that I do. But in reality, most likely, I'm not applying that knowledge that I have anyway. So really, who is the one that is, less intelligent? The person that just doesn't know, or the person that knows and still doesn't do it?
That's a good point.
Yeah. So back to the victim thing, I fall into a large victim mentality of, oh, I'm busy. Oh, I'm working. Oh, well, sorry, I'm working, and it's the best. It's just the best in a Western society, man. Nobody's going to have a fit if you're working, oh, well, he's working hard, oh, well, he's at work. Nobody's going to call you out for that. And I'm starting to realize, well, I've actually really been working on this a lot recently of, spending more time with family, looking out for my mental and physical health, and I'm not the best at it, but realizing that working doesn't resolve all problems, and it's not end all excuse for everything that I do in my life, like, I missed a family event. Like, well, it's not okay because I was working. Everybody's going to say it is, but that's, my responsibility to take a step back and say, hey, I need to make time for these things, so yeah, I think that's like one of those big victim mentalities that's super easy to fall into for, people that are into self-development and people that are business orientated, and are really making something of themselves. Is working is not a end all be all, pass.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's why I put craft last in that definition, is because, life and self, pursuing excellence in those, I feel like it's much more difficult than pursuing excellence in craft. And I feel like it's, it's a lot more nuanced and complex and difficult to grasp. So it's just so easy to be like, oh, well, I'm just going to go make more money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that brings up a good question too. So you pointed to craft. So what is power to you?
I feel like it's all context. As far as, I feel like power is, now hold on here. So one thing that I've started a big habit on in my life is not jumping to the answer of a question. So I'm going to ponder that for just a second. I feel like power comes down in my initial thought to influence.
Mm-hmm.
And influence in the broadest of terms. And I feel like the source of power is, immensely different case to case. You can have power from fear, you can have power from influence, and influence in a way of, I guess I used influence as my definition of power.
Which was going to be the next question. How do you define influence? How do you define money?
Right. So I'm really into the Socratic method. So I'm trying to Socratic method myself as I'm going through this. But let's go ahead and just kind of poke holes in the theory as I go and see if we can get to a good definition. So I would say influence. So then what is influence? I think influence is the ability to have an effect on something outside of your physical, outside of what you can physically manipulate.
Okay.
Yeah. So if, for instance, let's take a light bulb. I cannot physically turn that light bulb on with myself. I don't have the electricity in my body to turn that light on, but I have the power of electric, installation in the building to flip a switch and turn that light on. So I have the power to turn the light on, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So one of the ways I read from an older book was, power is anything that requires you to say, I could do that, but I don't have the power to do it. So requires a license to tattoo, right? So with the license, you then have the power.
I mean, I would argue that, there literally is nothing stopping you, for instance, from picking up a tattoo machine and tattooing somebody.
Don't I have to have a license?
I mean, no.
No? Shit.
If somebody, reports you and you get arrested.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But you still have every power to do it. There just might be consequences for doing it.
True. That's an interesting way to put it.
Kind of like, like I could very well, steal something from a gas station. I have the power to do that. I could face repercussions for that, but that doesn't change the fact that I am capable of doing that.
Mm-hmm. So what is money?
I mean, I feel like are you, it depends on the context as far as like, are we talking value or are we talking like an actual currency?
Like what does it represent?
I think money represents the ability, well, so when money was first introduced, it was a thing of having a way to trade with people that don't need what you provide, right? So I feel like money is an agreed upon way to trade or to barter when you don't have the resources to give the person what they need yourself. So, if somebody needs food and I have, leather goods, I can't give somebody leather goods for their, let's say roofing services, right? So money allows me to give somebody something that they can acquire their needs without having what their need is. And it's just, and the agreeance is one of those things of, we just agree on a currency and we agree on the value of it. And it's really just, a statement to trust, and honestly, I think money symbolizes a universal trust between humans.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that does symbolize it.
Yeah.
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So that what brings up to the next point. How did you finance your business? How did you get started?
So when I got started, I did sales for a while. I did hard labor, yada yada yada. Got into my apprenticeship, and I was homeless for like a few months, living out of my Honda Civic. You don't make any money as an apprentice.
I've been there, man. I was homeless for a year, living in my 4Runner.
Yep. Honda Civic.
Winters are tough.
Right. Well, luckily I did all this when I was 19.
Yeah.
So I got all the crazy, unstable. Well, I've had plenty of instability, but I got, that kind of wild experience out when I was younger, and it wasn't as big of a oh shit moment. I was like, I'm 19. I don't give a fuck. I'll sleep in my Honda Civic.
Mm-hmm.
And then just building a solid clientele. Treating people well. I've always had a talent for tattooing. Not so much drawing though. Drawing still to this day is very, very challenging for me. But tattooing has always came really natural. So, just putting out good work, doing good by people, and just building a solid clientele through. I did sales for a long time too, so I have a really natural ability to talk, and I think that's kind of like my primary talent. Really, is speaking. So just having that kind of in the tool bag and being able to present myself well, and then follow through that with a solid product and a good experience.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's great shading. Well, do you do your own?
I filled in this one on my shin. That sucked. I drank too much sake one night and came out here, and I was actually FaceTiming this tattooer from Canada that I was interested in at the time, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna tattoo my own shin, and she was like, okay, cool. And then I started doing it, and I was like, oh my god, this sucks so bad. But I'm FaceTiming this girl, so I'm like, oh yeah, everything's fine, yeah, it was great, yeah, I was having a great time. So yeah, I did that. I don't really tattoo myself much. I did this one, and then this one was one of the first that I ever did.
Okay,
about 8 years ago.
Really good.
Thank you.
Really good. So have you ever watched the movie Hustle and Flow?
Mm-mm.
Okay, it's an old one, but it's like, so basically, was there ever a point in time where you're like, man, once I get that one tattoo gun, I'll be at that level?
Yeah.
And you got that. Tell me about that.
I feel like, what do they call that? Displacement of different things. I normally use it as an example of displacement of action, you know, of like once I move to a new city, I'll start doing this. Or my favorite example of it is the gym. You know, we love going out and looking at all the new gyms around town and, you know, price checking and looking at what machines these guys have and which one's the nicer gym, and then finally picking one, and then, you know, signing up for a full year instead of just a month, you know, because that's more exciting and feels better. And then go to the store, and then I buy all the supplements and the protein powders and all the food to meal prep for the next 2 weeks and yada, yada, yada. And then I get home and then I don't do anything at all, because that excitement was, you know, from getting those things. And, you know, like if I'm not exercising at home, I'm not going to exercise when I get a gym membership, you know, but getting all the cool stuff is, you know, the part, you know. And then so that analogy translated into, you know, getting a new tattoo machine, you know, of if I'm having an issue of, you know, my lines aren't coming out super solid, or, you know, I'm not, my shading isn't as adequate as I would like it to be, you know, that's another one of those displacement things of, oh, once I get this new machine, now I've taken all that pressure off myself to grow and to make the changes and to learn the things that are going to make my work more quality. And then, so now I don't have the pressure of having to do those things anymore. I can just wait until I get the new machine. And then that new machine comes, and then, well, it doesn't do much for me. And I feel like there's a breaking point when it comes to equipment of that entry level that really, you know, at a very beginner stage, you know, for instance, I'm not going to know the difference between a fucking cheap Squier and a Gibson guitar. But once I get better, I'll notice the subtle nuances, and then, you know, the slightly better play, you know, once I have the knowledge of all the different tones and how, you know, the pickups react to different things, I can notice those subtleties in the guitar. But as a beginner, it doesn't make any difference.
Gotcha.
It's not going to make me play better. So now, at the same time, though, you know, if I go to Walmart and buy a guitar for $20, well, that actually might not be an adequate piece of, you know, equipment to even play on. So with tattoo machines, for instance, there's, you know, that entry-level equipment. You know, like if I buy a $100 kit off Amazon with everything that I need to do a tattoo, it's not adequate equipment. But once you get up to, you know, like $200, $300 machine, if you can't provide quality work with that, then, you know, once you get past that adequate level of equipment, the next steps are going to be extremely expensive, you know, like $1,000, $2,000 for a tattoo machine. But the differences are going to be so minute that, just like with the guitar, unless you're already putting out quality work, doing quality stuff, you're not going to notice that minor difference that does make your life a little bit easier. That does, you know, saturate that much better. So it's like the fluency in your skill has to be at a pretty high level to notice any change from a entry level to an advanced or intermediate equipment.
Gotcha.
But yes, I absolutely have had that moment though of like, oh, once I get these new needles, or oh, once I get this new machine, and then I'm like, oh, it still sucks.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, what have you been studying media process?
Oh, man. So right now we're kind of in a weird middle ground area. So I hired Nike originally as a social media manager, but I'm realizing that it's so hard to keep the authenticity. Like that, honestly, that is just the biggest struggle. We've been making like, I'll spend, an hour before I found some of the formatting apps, using video editors and making like, really, really quality reels, and nobody gave a shit. Nobody fucking cared. And the quick turn to the camera, hey, show a tattoo, everybody loves it. And, I think it's one of those things of people recognize that facade-esque type material, and it's that battle of becoming more professional and more, I don't know, becoming more refined without losing your authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been really tough. Yeah.
So you're making reels.
Mm-hmm.
So that's your thought process when you're making a reel. Are you what's your first thought? Is it like, oh, we're gonna do a beginning, middle, end, and edit through everything?
So I've realized that average watch time for pretty much everything is 6 seconds. And here, I'm going to show you a couple too. I know we're like in the middle of recording, but
yeah, no worries.
So I went through, and I know that, here, I'll just move this over here a little bit. I know that a lot of, like, the content is good, but I'm having, it's interesting trying to find the right way to provide value. Because with, my services right now, especially like on the tattoo end of it, really the only value that, is being provided is a entertainment value, really, of like enjoying looking at the art. I'm working on, getting more of the information, education type stuff going out. But it's so tough because I have so many things going on right now, and I know that if I launch that, it needs my attention, and I can't just put it out there and then, just fall off of it. So this is like, let me find an earlier one. So this is like what I was doing a year ago. And this was doing really well.
Just the reveals?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And see, now personally, I think this one was too slow.
Okay.
And then I also realized that using this type of music, I can't boost it or, promote it because it's...
copyrighted?
Yeah. And then we moved on to... What's this one? And see, this is one of those trending things, which I was trying to, pick up on that trend. But there's so much time involved in finding that, and like doing that type of stuff. And really what's going on right now is I'm just not dedicating the time. I'm not managing my time well. I'm busy, which means that I have poor time management. Well, I think that's just the most brilliant excuse again, kind of like the I'm working thing is, oh, I'm busy. It just plain and simple is a fancy way of saying I have poor time management. My friend Chad Mitchell, I'll talk about that process here in a minute that he had shown me. And then we were doing stuff like this. And this is one that one of my photographers made for me when I was in Ohio.
That's really good.
Well, see, the thing is, it's great, but in a real setting, it's too slow. Like, I feel like if this was on like a YouTube channel or something, like an intro to a video, but like I feel like it just doesn't have the excitement for people,
Yeah.
And then we moved on to, let's see here, this one.
That's good.
Wait, see, this one got nothing as far as engagement.
That message button right below this post.
Should have started with that.
Mm-hmm. Texas, and let's make something beautiful, you guys.
But yeah, and, I put an hour and a half into that.
Dang.
and probably like 3 hours, because we were filming and doing all kinds of stuff and yada yada yada, you know. And then you make one reel, and then it doesn't really do much. And then where is? So now this is the stuff that we've been like kind of going towards.
That's really professional. Nike's very good.
Mm-hmm.
What is he using for a video editor?
So right now we're both making the reels. We're doing cap cut
Final Cut.
Mojo.
Okay.
Yeah, so Mojo has the they have the what do you call that when you just put stuff in it and it's already made?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah,
kind of like
a template. Yeah. Template. Yeah, and so we're doing that kind of stuff. But you know what the funny thing is, man, is that nobody cares about these. Actually, I think this one might have done well. Yeah, that one did decent because it has tattoos, but these don't do well because this is apparel, and I have a fucking tattoo page. Can I swear on here?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I have a tattoo page. So everybody thinks the apparel is super cool, but they're not following me for apparel. They're following me for tattoos. So I'm not getting any engagement on those. It's killing my algorithm, and now I'm back stuck in a spot where I'm not getting any reach because I'm not posting consistent content. And then I start posting other things like, you know, these like, you know, travel stuff, and then apparel, and then prints, and then other random things. And I'm like, holy shit, this is completely killing everything. I got this page to where it is by, you know, posting tattoos and then getting scammed by a fake follow site that I thought was real, and then I got, you know, 6,000 of my followers from that. Don't tell anybody. Also, just so you guys know, for the audience, if you see somebody that has 10,000, 14,000, 100,000, 200,000 followers, look at their engagement, and if their likes and comments are not wait, let me do the math here real quick. If their likes and comments are not 5 to 10, or if the likes are not 5 to 10% of their follower amount, and the comments are not like 5 to 10% of the amount of likes, it's fake. It's not real followers. I cannot tell you how many people I've like wanted to like get in touch with and like, you know, ask about, you know, like all this stuff, and then all of a sudden I realized once I accidentally, I kind of knew what it was, but I thought it might be real, so I was excited, and then boom, okay, I had 8,000 followers the next day, and they're all fake accounts, right? But like after having that experience and realizing like, oh man, you know, this guy that I thought was like, you know, just absolutely killing it, you know, and like doing all this cool stuff, and like I want to get in touch with him and, you know, and see how he grew his account, you know, like what kind of stuff he does, and I'm looking through and I'm like, oh, he only has 100 likes on most of his posts, and he has, you know, 80,000 followers. Well, those aren't real accounts. And then I have friends, you know, that have 100,000 followers, and, you know, they're getting, you know, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 likes per post. That's a real following account that they have, you know. So yeah, you know, kind of looking at those numbers, being like, oh, that's actually kind of like what I'm getting on my page, and I have, you know, a 16th of the followers. That's how you can identify that and actually kind of see, oh, this, maybe I should, and, you know, also trying to find inspiration, you know, looking at other people's pages, you know, like, oh, what kind of content should I be making? Mm-hmm. Well, don't just look at the followers, make sure that they're getting that engagement from those before, you know, kind of taking their example, I guess. I totally rabbit trailed there.
No, that's good. I mean, that's interesting stuff that people don't, I like to see what do you see when you look into the algorithm? How does it treat you? You know?
Right.
And what works for you? From what I could tell right off the bat is you're suffering from black.
Black?
Yeah. Black is horrible for getting views.
You mean the color?
Yeah.
In what way? Like
your apparel reels.
Okay.
Just start hot chicks, pink.
Yep. No, see, yeah, okay. Hot chicks. That's like, I mean, that's the thing that I'm getting on now. Now, black and gold is my entire like color profile, but I've just started launching white and gold too. And people have like, one thing that I realized, actually I didn't
White
want
and
to.
gold and use Nike as the model.
Yep.
Smart.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm pretty confident in myself. Like, I feel like I'm a pretty attractive dude. I do not photograph super well, and I feel like it would be a lot better if I was not the one modeling my own clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the white and gold I think is going to do pretty well. The initial excitement.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit.
All right.
That is a boat that, is so crucial to jump on that I feel like everybody misses.
Mm-hmm.
By the time I jump on the boat's, 30 feet out into the water and I'm drowning now.
It's all good. We just keep going with this one.
Oh, battery died.
It's fine.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not
I
tripping.
have backups, man. I got the podcast in
Right.
the event. It all video goes to shit. I got something. Backup to the backup.
Are you an audiophile? Would you consider yourself? Do you like like when you're listening to music, or like when hearing a good system or something like that?
I started creating my own beats.
Oh, I meant like just for like listening quality. Like do you like?
Oh yes, you know what? Yeah, absolutely. I had this guy on the podcast. His name is Nick Allard. Hey Nick, hope you're watching. Anyway, Nick says, yeah, everybody says, man, and people forgive bad video, but
Oh yeah, well, so the reason I was asking that I made an impulse purchase, which I've been really trying not to do lately, but I love sound quality for like my music and stuff. So I got a $2,000 Sonos system for the drawing studio. So whenever we get done here, man, if you want to hear it, it's surround, it's top notch, man.
Well, get all sorts of video of like your art and stuff.
Oh,
I'll
cool.
add,
Hell yeah.
Like a snippets into the podcast and stuff.
Hell yeah. What was?
So back to your so you got an Instagram, and what other ones have you been uploading to?
So we have YouTube Shorts, TikTok, personal Instagram, business Instagram, apparel Instagram, personal Facebook, Snapchat. So really, I can't grow anymore. I can't do any better than I am right now if I don't take Chad Mitchell's advice and budget my time. What I'm doing right now is I am always in panic mode, and I'm lacking structure, and my efficiency is just atrocious. I don't like I could be getting 5 times more done in a day and have 5 times less stress, but the thing is I feel like I'm addicted to the stress, and I think I'm addicted to that victim mentality of being busy and being stressed, because I can blow off anything because, I'm too stressed for that, you know what I mean? And people, because I have so much going on, I'm like, oh, wow, like you're just doing all kinds of stuff. People take it no problem, and but what Chad Mitchell suggested for me, he's been one of my like mentors since I was like 14. He's incredible, man. He's made and lost $1 million 3 different times in his life, and now he's made another $1 million and he hasn't lost it yet, and he's holding on to it. So but I feel like that's one of those things of, if somebody just makes $1 million, off like a, lucky investment or something like that. I mean, yeah, that's awesome, and I had no way am, like kind of having any judgment towards them or, their knowledge or anything like that. But somebody that's really going to give you like advice that is going to be solid as fuck is not somebody that has just made $1 million, but somebody that has also lost $1 million. Yeah. And then made it back. Yeah. And I feel like the made it back part is important too, because if they just lost it, then they're jaded. They're going to have all kinds of, negative, defeative kind of tactics, but to make and lose $1 million 3 times and then do it again successfully the last time, he just has so much knowledge. And he has 7 kids, one with learning disabilities, a wife, and he has like 5 different Amazon AFB businesses going on right now, and he's a realtor, and he makes time for his family, he makes time for his wife, he makes time for his Amazon, he makes time for personal health, mental health, and is a successful, one of the top realtors in the area. And it's so funny to me to, I think keeping that perspective is really important, like finding people that are, where I want to be, to realize, oh, I really don't have a lot going on right now. I really don't. I just have poor time management, and to kind of keep that and if I want to grow, if I want a bigger company, if I want, multiple artists working for me, if I want, this apparel company to really if anything that I have going on right now took off, I'd explode. Like, I don't even have the mental capacity to do well with what I have, and kind of realizing like, okay, people have done this before. I'm not, some pioneer, and this is not, even an inkling of what I want, so learning to, budget my time. And he was like, dude, sit down at night and budget out half hours of your day and then stick to it. And, that's one of the things of, just having the fucking discipline to just do it, and I get really excited, and I tend to put off the urgent things to work on something exciting.
I understand that.
Yeah, and and I have enough projects going on now that I always have something that I can work on, and then justify working on it because it's actually relative to, the business, and then, and then just losing that whole priority scale. And if I have, an hour a day to work on apparel, cover that Instagram, cover those new designs, cover, the new things. And then if I have, time of like, oh, okay, now I have extra time. I've done all the stuff. Now let me, do some research on Alibaba, and look into what it really would take to, do my designs from a manufacturer, and like, it's so different for what I'm doing because, like, for instance, the dresses here, I'll show you one. I've like spent 10 hours making this dress, and it's a really complicated pattern. There's different colors and layers and all kinds of stuff. So it's not like I can just say, hey, here's my logo, put it on a shirt and send it to me. There's a lot of communication that has to go through with that. Let's see here. Where are these? So yeah, these are the dresses.
Oh, those are cool.
Yeah.
So you thought of this design yourself?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Drew everything
How
from
did you
scratch
get
on my
that
iPad.
woman?
So these are mock-ups from the Printful website.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. They can do that.
And then, let's see here. So now this is Ara. She's one of my models. So these are the leggings that I made.
Oh, those are nice.
And the swimsuit top. And like, so yeah, like getting that background design in there, patterned correctly with the correct, distance apart and stuff like that. Like, I feel like, communicating with somebody overseas is going to be really difficult to get that how it's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. So actually, genuinely, I do want to know, let me get like a decent amount of the line out here, and see like what you think about with this whole, the black thing, because black and gold was my whole thing that I was going with, and then I realized that white would be a really good one too. And honestly, man, I was like super against color, but like green, like gold on like muted green looks really good, and like, I don't know, I just don't want to get too far away from a niche, you know what I mean? Like, I like the idea of like, if you see black and gold, you see white and gold. You don't see that very often. It's really hard to find in the stores. And I love black and gold. And that's actually one of the reasons that I went with what I chose, because I know that there's got to be other people that want black and gold clothing. You can't find it anywhere. So, you know, that was a niche that I hit. And I kind of had this mentality of like, you know, not branching out. But at the same time, though, you know, I can't just come out with all my designs and all kinds of different colors all over the place, you know, because all of a sudden then it's overwhelming for the consumer. And then it's not... It doesn't have any identifiability, you know. There's no separation, or, you know. So what are your opinions on that?
Yeah, you got to use the lures the fish are gonna bite on.
Yeah.
So what you could do is you could run a few reels of different colors, just different color shirts, and only get like maybe one made of each color, and then see what happens. Or there's other image things that you can change the color of the shirt, I think.
Oh, well, so I'm not like, I can change the background color like that, right? That's not an issue. I'm just worried about not, you know, like losing definition of brand, kind
Gotcha.
of, you know, kind of like solidarity, you know, of like, this is the brand, you know, like.
So then you're gonna hit that point in the future where you're gonna, well, McDonald's logo has changed. Everyone's logo has changed. So all businesses have a life cycle.
Yeah.
Like a human, and they live and die. So it's going to morph with you.
You know, I just realized what I think would be the way to approach that. Something that, I don't know, you know, and I work a lot off of intuition. But, you know, being a creative, you know, and like a big thinker, one thing that's kind of funny is, you know, as an artist, like, let's take for an artist, you know, I can make something that is, from an artist's point of view, immaculate. And any high-level artist that looks at it is going to go, wow, that is incredible. But the public, you know, the 90%, 95% of the people on the planet that aren't, you know, like high-level artists, don't care. It's like, I played professional pool for a little bit, and I love watching pool games. I love watching professional pool. People don't give two shits. It's the most underpaid professional sport in the world because it looks boring. If you don't know the subtleties and the nuances of what they're doing and why it's difficult, like I don't even blame people for not wanting to watch it, you know. So I think that's that thing of like, you know, being at a high level at something and making what you know is really good stuff, but not having that foresight to see what the public actually wants, you know, like what the standard population is actually going to enjoy. And I think that's one of those things that is difficult to grasp. But I'm thinking now, you know, doing like making a big deal out of like hey, we're launching, you know, like limited edition, you know, green, you know, and making a bigger deal out of it, and then kind of doing that over 6 months with different types of stuff, and then seeing what really catches. And then, okay, we're going to keep burgundy. That's absolutely staying because burgundy went, you know, and kind of like expanding that way, and then making it more of an exciting, like, oh man, limited run green, you know, instead of just kind of putting out a bunch of colors. But yeah, and I feel like I just don't want to get lost in that ether of like, you know, making everything, you know. And then so for instance, here are the, wait, did I get these? I have like 75 products on my account right now. So these are like the new hoodie designs.
That's cool that they have. That's really cool.
And like, so do you, in your opinion, do you think that the gold is not really, or the black is not really gonna, like, what's your perspective on that as far as these are windbreakers?
I think it looks The golden black is fine.
Mhm.
It's hard to sell black as any image because that's usually what the crew, the stage crew, is gonna wear. You know.
Oh, can you go into that a little bit more?
Yeah, like that's like all of the jiu-jitsu reels I do, because I have this jiu-jitsu channel that I make reels for. And
What gym do you?
Newborn, which you should train. Everyone should train jiu-jitsu. Anyway, but yeah, if it's a black, if they're wearing black, the outfit's black on black on black with a black background, like whatever the mat is, they need to be wearing the opposite color.
So you're talking about the environment around me.
The environment around you in black never trends. Like you're never gonna, black sucks at trending. I'm not
Really?
gonna say it never trends.
Yeah, but the percentage.
But look at most of your trending videos and reels. They're all very light colored. Most aren't indoors unless it's cats. And yeah, I'm obsessed over this.
Okay, so I don't mean to interrupt.
Yeah,
I'm
never.
getting my notebook.
Oh, live again. There we go. Cool. So you're pro notebook, like Joe Rogan.
Yes. I actually have a strong disdain for Joe Rogan, and I realized after a while that I have no problem with Joe Rogan. I just
Okay.
have a problem with Joe Rogan fans, and not
Gotcha.
all of them in general. You know, it's kind of
Gotcha.
like when people don't like, Christians because the
Alright,
only ones
yeah.
that they notice are the ones that throw it in their face, and they don't realize that they probably meet, 20 a day that are just wonderful people, but the one person per day that is an asshole, they just associate that as the whole group,
Gotcha.
and then they don't realize that that's actually 5% because the other 19 weren't assholes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have this whole thing of like, I've just ran into like a large amount of people that listen to Joe Rogan that have also just been jackwagons. So I kind of made that relation, and I realized like a few months ago, I was like, actually, he's cool. I don't mind him at all. I just there's people that have brought his name up, and then I associated him with those people. So
Yeah, man. I think the real talent behind the Joe Rogan podcast is Jamie.
yeah, who's Jamie?
Who's Jamie? Oh, he's the producer
Hell yeah.
of the podcast. Yeah, so
So black doesn't trend.
no, black doesn't trend much at all. No. It's only like think about every dance competition or dance thing where it's a man and a woman dancing. The man is the frame while the woman is the picture. The man always wears black because the woman is the picture. So if you don't want it to be seen in the shot, you want it, then put it in black. But other than that, you gotta think about what does fast food use. They use yellow, reds, blues. Those are
Right.
your common things that people are gonna bite on. And then trendy music, man. So that way you don't have to worry about the copyright strikes. You're just gonna upload it on the reels. Just use the trendy music.
Right, and then don't even worry about like boosting because that's one thing that I've always like been really into is paying for like advertisement on Instagram and Facebook, especially because I tattoo. I was tattooing in a new city every month for a while, so I got really good at using the demographics, advertisements, interests, all that kind of stuff, so that is something for my tattoos in general that is, I guess I could just make a specific one, but like, having something that I can put, $100 towards to boost in a new area, so that when I go out there, I have clientele to work with and stuff like that. Or, when I'm promoting, new artists that are coming here, being able to, drop $200 to get it out there, so that's the only concern that I have with using trending music.
Gotcha. I mean, like what they offer on the reels. That's all I mean.
Right. Well, can you, so when you say, so more trending audio, not trending songs?
Yeah, or whatever you think might be catchy. Like,
Right.
like there's times where Footloose, right now what's trending is Crunk Ain't Dead. So that one's trending. So if you're to make some dance video on Crunk Ain't Dead, that'll trend,
Right. But now, so
hopefully.
when using like advertisement, so like if I was to boost a post for like $100 on Instagram, if it has like a song by Drake, I can't boost it because it's copyrighted music.
Oh, you can't?
No, you can't pay for advertisement unless it's non-copyrighted music. So that's why I have that. But realistically, like, I'm not boosting all of my posts. So I could be using those training audios regardless, and then when I do need to make a post for a trip, not use that for that trip. So, Nike, Michael, Nike.
Hey, Nike. Nice to meet you, man. Cool. Yeah. So like, look, things that make things trend are gonna be like Mr. B said. You got to figure out what the audience wants. I believe that Bada Boom font is what works really well.
Bada Boom font.
Bada Boom.
And
Bada Boom. You want the words to text when they say it.
Now, but Bada Boom font, is that something that is like a specific font on like Instagram or something like that, or is that just something that is like coming at you?
That's a specific font.
Okay.
I mean, there's a specific Bada Boom font on Mac. There's Bada Boom-esque fonts on all of these video platforms that you can upload your content to. But Bada Boom helps. Like, who said it? Yeah, you want people to hit. You got to give them what they want within the first 5 seconds. Like Mr. B said, if I say I got a $10,000 gold watch, you got to be like, bam, $10,000 gold watch right there. Like, so they know what they're getting into, because everybody's coming into every single reel with zero context, and they're looking for the first reason they can to just keep swiping.
Right.
And
so like with those apparel ones that I was making, like that first one where it was showing the different shots of the joggers, that kind of says, hey, these are the joggers. But like the other ones that I made where I was just like kind of walking around, nobody has any clue what I'm even selling. Like, is he just walking? Am I looking at the clothes? Am I looking at the sunglasses? And is this just a dude walking downtown? Is that kind of what, like, is that kind of relating to that concept?
Yeah, you want to match search intent, and you want to give people things of value. Like, if you're gonna freaking have somebody in joggers, you should have some chick with a big ass. You can have her walk in and have it with the reels going, all the pretty girls walk like this. Pretty girls walk like this. And then you zoom in on her ass moving and shit. And that's the best you can hope for.
Yeah.
Out of any situation. And so there's that idea. Animals are good too.
Animals.
And if I was to really dive into the world of it, because people love animals better than they love humans. I mean, it's easy.
Yeah.
So animals are easy. Oh yeah, here's one for you. Just start adding freaking cat humor to all your shit.
Cat humor?
Yeah, all of it. I shit you not. Like, this is a fun $5 experiment you can do. If you go to Walmart, you get a cat humor shirt, you walk around with a cat humor shirt, people will treat you better than you're wearing a suit. Not joking. Because people see the cat and they only see the cat and they think, oh, well, there's a million people every day. I see a bunch of people every day, but that person's a kitty cat. He's getting treated differently.
Yeah, I got 3 cats at home, dog. I'm bringing one in every day.
Yeah. So pet influencers are way better to attract people, and it also depends on what category you're putting your thing is. No, I haven't data mined the Instagram yet, but as far as YouTube goes, you're gonna get it skewed specifically for 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is the only time you should upload anything. Pacific Standard Time anywhere in the world.
And that's just YouTube?
For sure YouTube.
Okay.
For sure YouTube, but you can make inference for the rest of the world except for maybe TikTok, I don't know. But for sure YouTube. And I've proved this. The categories you want to use are how-to, education, science, and tech.
Regardless of your product?
Regardless.
Okay, wait, hold on. So 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Yep, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
And then you're talking about the interests
the category.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you have to realize that YouTube's roots. I don't know what Instagram's roots are, but like you say, you got to go back to.
Wait,
why.
I'm so sorry. How to what and what?
Oh, how to education and science and tech.
Cool.
So you got to go to your why, right? And so the YouTube's why is we are about education and improving the human condition through education. YouTube is for professionals. Everything else is for children. So if you created how to tattoo 2023 or tattoo gun reviews or tattoo whatever, and then you can also picture apparel in it if you wanted to do how-to videos.
Yeah.
Even if they're quick reels. So one thing you can do today, so instead of spending money, whenever you go to a new city, just take the time to go to Google and type in something in the new city, right? Like you go to the search bar and type in tattoos, St. Louis, for example, right? Say you're in St. Louis. Like tattoo St. Louis, and Google's gonna auto-populate with a bunch of previously asked questions. Those previously asked questions are called featured snippets. And what you gotta do, and it's kind of a gamble, but you wanna take the top featured snippets and you wanna answer those questions in a short video.
Yep.
All right. Now, who owns YouTube?
I don't know.
Google.
Okay.
All right. What's the first thing populated when you research something?
Whatever Google owns.
Should be the Reels. So if you answer the quick answer, your brand, you can make a living. You can stop what you're doing right now, everybody, and just make a living answering stupid fucking questions all day. Be sure to upload at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But yeah, that's all I do. I go to jiu-jitsu tournaments. I go to my jiu-jitsu stuff. I film people. And then I'm like, if the move related to it, I'll just look up the question. And I leave the question as the title. And that's the most important thing. I don't never use fucking hashtags. Ever. Because you're fucking yourself when you do.
Yeah, because it pigeonholes you into a specific... Or
it doesn't even match search intent. I did a whole thing on why you should not use hashtags. But like you don't meet search intent. Like who goes to the like how to tattoo, right? No one goes to the search bar and types in tattoo life, tattoo Spokane, tattoo homie, tattoo this, that.
I have never followed a hashtag, and I have never searched for a hashtag in my entire life.
Hashtags exist only for one reason, to train you, the user. Because they first started in Twitter by lazy-ass programmers that didn't want to start, that just wanted to get people to start optimizing the search engine for them. So it was an attempt to get people to self-optimize, but it went rogue. It went horribly wrong.
Can you go a little deeper into like self-optimizing and like what you mean by that exactly, and like how it makes it easier for the developers?
Yeah. So like for example, most people just post links and ghost, dude. They just post and ghost. They post a photo. It's like they're like tattoo Spokane. Whatever, okay, tattoo Spokane, or like my tattoo today, or whatever. Like most of it's not even matching search intent. So whatever it is, people, and now, okay, initially people just post links and ghosts. They just post and ghost. They don't put any context to it at all. So they got a bunch of data that's not organized anywhere in their database. So how they try to get you, the user, to organize the database is by the use of hashtags and trying to convince you that if you use these certain hashtags, you'll get more engagement. Well, the fact is, no one's got any data as to whether, well, it's not going to give you more engagement because it's not meeting search intent. Because nobody goes to the search bar and types in all that stupid shit. And every single hashtag you add reduces the probability that yours is gonna fucking trend. Because if you do tattoos, like best tattoos, tattoo life, okay, now you're hoping that somebody's gonna go to the Google search bar and type in best tattoo life. And then, okay, how are you competitive at all? You're not. You have to be a best Spokane tattoo shop 2023.
2023 because the date relevance precedes prestige. Relevance beats prestige every fucking time. Do you want like fishing regulations 2022? Fishing regulations 2020. Everybody wants 2023. Doesn't matter if it was a shitty video from 10 years ago with 10 million views. Is yours 2023? It's relevant.
Yeah. So hashtags are literally for the search bar.
They are to try to get people to label their content so it can be associated in the right clusters.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. But most of the time they're fucking themselves because they go crazy with the hashtag. Everyone you add just keeps fucking yourself. You just want it in the title. How would you look for some shit? Best funniest cat videos.
Yeah. So Reels come up on Google searches?
Yeah. If you have Google Chrome as the...
Interesting. Okay, cool.
That's the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
Like, media is owned, but like, there's Disney, there's Time Warner, there's, but right now they're kind of floating into what is big. But what is big now is Google. Google owns YouTube. Mm-hmm. YouTube's freaking huge. YouTube's so big that Mr. Beast told Disney to fuck off. Like, he'll do what he wants and stay on YouTube. YouTube's so big that there's like jiu-jitsu dudes that would rather make more money on YouTube than go pro in UFC because they'll make more money on YouTube.
So,
everybody knows this.
Do you think there's value in establishing it, as far as getting going on an educational type thing? Do you even think that, like, because we have so much content ready to go, as far as like he has like a notebook of like 45 different topics that I can talk about for an hour each. Is it important to get like a TikTok and an Instagram and a Facebook page and a YouTube channel for all those things, or would you just say just send it on the YouTube channel?
I have over 55 platforms that I distribute to. Any new one that you can think of that I can navigate it, short of the language barrier, I'm going to be on it. And I'm going to drop it as another link to click back to the channel.
Is that something that we could pay you to populate?
What do you mean?
Or is that something that, like, if we paid you to help us with the filming and editing process, could we pay you to distribute that as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I distribute everything. So like so I got this guy, his name's Danny Woodbury, he's a pacemaker bodybuilder, he's got his own little pacemaker bodybuilder channel. I just started all this in October last year. So I just started this company. I started off as a marketing intelligence company, because I'm a data scientist, and so I mine through data sets, and I train machine learning models and shit, and I find these things. And so it's quickly morphed because I started getting high on helping other people trend, and so it adds to network views and it adds to influence, and so that's what I work for. Yeah, is influence, which is a different thing. So I really like that model, and it's fun. It's based off of a model tried and true from Carpenter from Nazareth, man. Yeah, this was based off influence. The only people who worried about money betrayed him.
I think that a big thing there too is the difference of motivation versus inspiration. One of my I read do you know Simon Sinek?
Oh yeah.
I've read 2 of his books now, and I really I think I'm gonna go back through and do it again, just to kind of keep myself in those mindsets. But just the concept of good companies don't hire people and motivate them. Good companies hire motivated people and inspire them. And that difference of like motivation is me chugging this energy drink, and getting all amped up, and inspiration is something that stays with you, something that creates that passion of like I will work 12-hour days every day. I will tattoo 40 hours a week and then do all these other things, because I'm inspired to bring something more to this world, and And I think that, you know, is the big thing of, you know, anybody can, well, not anybody, but, you know, it's easy to motivate people. You know, I can get people all jazzed up and excited about self-development, you know, and like, oh yeah, we're going to go, you know, do all these new things and but they get home and then, you know, like, and that doesn't, you know, I actually found this out when I was like, I think I was like 13 and I watched Rocky.
Yeah.
Right. And then I went out in the fucking garage and I hit that punching bag for like, you know, 2 hours. And I was like, oh, I'm going to wake up so early tomorrow and I'm going to start exercising, doing all the push-ups. I woke up and it's gone. And then, you know, so like 13 to 14, man, I was living, you know, Les Brown. Mm-hmm. And, well, what's that other? He's like new age Les Brown. I can't remember his name right now, but you know, they're just those super amped up motivation, and I listened to that every day, you know, and then all of a sudden it started waning off, you know, it doesn't work anymore, you know, it's like drugs, you know, like first high is fucking great and you're always chasing that one, you know. Mm-hmm. And then that was when, you know, I realized that motivation, you know, doesn't do anything in the long term, you know. Now if you're inspired and you take a little bite of motivation, you know, that can really do you some good, get the ball rolling, you know what I mean? But without that deeper inspiration, you know, it doesn't do anything, you know, and that's kind of like, you know, really finding those ways to inspire people and, you know, push them forward in a way of like, hey, you know, there is, you know, this greater thing, you know, and purpose behind life. And, you know, and then using little bits of motivation just to kind of, you know, kind of push through some difficult times. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember where exactly I was going with that, but.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's pretty good. But it's been well over an hour, guys. So
hell yeah, man.
Wrap this up. Where can everybody find you?
Oh, spstudiospnw.com is the website. And SP Studios PNW TikTok. My Instagram is Wyatt C Tattoo 208. If you just go to that website, spstudiospnw.com, we got TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, everything's linked on the website. We got apparel up there, all kinds of stuff. All of our trips are on there. We're going to Florida on Tuesday for a big tattoo convention. That's going to be a blast once we get through the initial setup and getting everybody in the same city face. So, but yeah, man. Yeah, that honestly, the website's been going really well. We were using WordPress, and that was just
WordPress. Yeah.
But neither of us know how to use it, so it was oh my god, insanity. Gotcha. So then 3 months later, we were like, fuck it, Shopify, and it's been going great. So
all right,
yeah.
Okay,
mm-hmm.
Well, good to know.
Thank you so much for having me, Michael.
Yeah,
I really appreciate
absolutely.
it.
Right? Everybody, thank you. Like and subscribe. Smash that bell for more updates.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
Oh.